Thank you very much for listening to this week's talk on the Sedra of Va'era, the second Sedra in the book of Shemos. And we have in this week's Sedra the first 7 plagues of the 10 plagues. We will hear about the last 3 in the next week's Sedra of Bo. And the intensity of the events is really something that is absolutely epic, and I think that is perhaps why quieter passages in this portion might be overshadowed and overlooked, and that is something that we have to prevent, because there is such insight, wisdom, and important material that is in every single word of the Torah. So we need to really be on guard not to let events that are very dramatic overshadow those that seem to be quieter in comparison. And I think another challenge that we face is that these are events, these are words that we may have read very frequently over the years, and the familiarity lulls us into a sense of false sense of security, in as much as we don't necessarily pay such close attention. So we need to come with fresh eyes to everything that we read as we look at the Sedras that we read on every week. And the concept that I want to focus on is the concept of brothers as partners in the service of Hashem. And I think what we see in these relatively quiet Pesukim are how the 2 brothers, Moshe and Aharon and Moshe, and their names are actually told, they are described interchangeably at certain points, how they are working together from this point onwards till both of their passing at the end of the Torah, in the book of Bamidbar, in the book of Devarim, and I think that we can really look at these 2 brothers, look at the example that they're setting, and see in that relationship tools and applications that we can all learn from, we can all take in some way in our own personal lives. So the verses that I want to start looking at is in chapter 6, verse 13. Vayedaber Hashem el Moshe ve'el Aharon, and Hashem spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, vayetzaveim, and commanded them, el bnei Yisrael ve'el Paro, regarding the children of Israel and regarding Pharaoh, Melech Mitzrayim, the king of Egypt, lahotzi es bnei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim, to take the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. And after this very factual statement, we then have what is quite surprising, is a break of genealogy, and that is from verse 14 through to verse 25. So we have 11 verses. Roshei Beis Avosom, these are the heads of their fathers' houses, Bnei Ruvain, Bechor Yisrael, Chanoch, Ufalu, Bnei Shimon, and it carries on, really giving us this very detailed genealogy. And then we have at verse 20 in these verses, Vayikach Amram es Yocheved Dodasa, and Amram took Yocheved, his aunt, lo leisha, to him as a wife, vateled lo es Aaron be'es Moshe, ushnei chaye Amram, sheva ushaloshim u'ma'as shana. And he took Yocheved as a wife, she bore him Aaron and Moshe, and the years of the life of Amram were 137 years. And it carries on, tells us who, Vayikach Aaron es Elisheva bas Aminadov, achos Nachshon lo leisha, and Aaron took Elisheva, the daughter of Aminadov, the sister of Nachshon, to him as a wife, and his sons, and it carries on. And then at the end of that, at the end of this detailed family history, Posuk verse 26 says, Hu Aaron u'Moshe, this is Aaron and Moshe, Asher Omar Hashem lohem, that Hashem said to them, Hotziu es b'nei Yisrael, take the children out of Egypt, me'eretz Mitzrayim al tzivosom, from the land of Egypt, according to their legions. Haim hamadabrim el paro. They are the ones who spoke to Pharaoh, Melech Mitzrayim, the king of Egypt, lahotzi es bnei Yisrael me Mitzrayim, to take the children of Israel out of Egypt, hu Moshe v'Aaron. And this is just a pause at a moment, because it seems to be, these words seem to be telling us basic facts that we have either been told many times and we certainly know. And I think that we can't just gloss over them. And we need to look at these quiet words, these words that sound quite repetitious, and really internalize them against the background of a number of significant reasons why the partnership of these brothers, why the relationship between these brothers should not have been a smooth and pleasant partnership. And the first element of background that perhaps we could focus on is the fact that in the list of the genealogy that I read out, we read out their ages, and everything has a purpose, every word has a reason. We learned that Moshe Rabbeinu is 80 years old at the time of the events that are taking place in this Sedra, the conversations with the mightiest man in the mightiest empire of the time. And Moshe is 80 years old and Aaron is 83. Aaron is the older one. And there is, especially in the ancient world, and we've seen it in the book of Bereshis, the concept that the firstborn tends to get the inheritance or get the more significant blessing. And here we have the situation where Moshe Rabbeinu is going to be the primary leader. And so perhaps already at this point, with the detail that we have in these verses, we have a reason, and this is something that bothered Moshe Rabbeinu in last week's Sedra of Shemos. He was hesitant about taking on this mission, partly because he did not want to usurp the position of his older brother of Aaron. I think another significant reason why there could have been animosity between these two special brothers is the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu, we call him Moshe, our teacher, and this is how he has eternal connection with us in a very meaningful, impactful way in all of our lives, as that teacher who changes our lives, and that teacher who we will remember with such fondness for our lives. But he is a prince of Egypt. He is raised in the palace. He is not feeling the whip of the taskmaster on his back, whereas his brother Aaron is with the people. He would say at the coal face, but it's really at the pyramid face. And he is enduring the slavery in a way, however empathetic and however Moshe Rabbeinu could have chosen to look the other way and carried on as a prince of Egypt. But Aaron didn't have a choice about being a slave. That's what he was. And so we have another reason that perhaps there could be resentment certainly flowing from Aaron to Moshe, and that would actually stop these two brothers working together in the way that they obviously did. And so I think that when we see the verses over here, we see the fact that the genealogy is bookended by the reference to the two brothers together. How, although Moshe is the younger, he is often given the senior position. He is mentioned first. Many of the conversations in the Torah are going to be between Hashem and Moshe Rabbeinu. Yet there is a point here that Aaron is also mentioned first, and within a space of a few verses, it says, this is verse 26, Hu Aaron u'Moshe, and then at the end of verse 27, we hear Hu Moshe v'Aaron. So this is not something that is random, something that is accidental. This is showing us that in some ways, whether it was birth order, whether it was the various jobs in the plagues that Aaron was going to carry out and not Moshe Rabbeinu, yet the fact is that they are working together for the common good. And lest we say that this is against human nature, that really, especially when brothers are in prominent positions, it's more likely, it's more natural for them not to get on well, not to be able to cope with the glare of publicity and with all of the other challenges that they face. I think that we have certain key descriptions of both Moshe and Aaron that help us understand how they are able to do this. The first is that Moshe Rabbeinu in the book of Bamidbar is referred to as Onov Mikol Odom, and this is in Bahalosecha, and it is in chapter 12. Chapter 12 and chapter 12 verse 3, V'ha'ish Moshe onov ma'od mikol ha'adam asher al pnei ha'adama. So although we only hear about this later, that this humility that is unparalleled, that is something that we all aspire to, I think that it is this characteristic that in many other contexts as well, but specifically here at this point, is going to be one aspect of how the relationship between these two brothers will work together because of this exceptional humility that we find in Moshe Rabbeinu. Aaron too brings his special characteristics that are going to enable the smooth running, especially for the brother who could so easily have thought that he was cheated out of what was rightfully his. He was the one who suffered. Why should he have to give over to this person who never knew a really hard day's work in his life? But the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, and this is chapter 1, verse Mishnah 12, Hillel v'Shammai kiblu mehem, Hillel and Shammai received from them. Hillel Omer, Hillel says, Heve mitalmidov shel Aaron, be among the disciples of Aaron, Ohev Shalom v'Rodev Shalom, Ohev as Habrios u'Makorvan LaTorah, loves peace, pursues peace, loves the creature, loves all people, and brings them near to Torah. And so I think that when Aaron is characterized in this way, that his overriding love, his head is going to be filled with this desire to make peace between everyone, his love of all creatures, all creations. And so I think this kind of attitude is perhaps not described as Onov Mikol Odom, but somebody who is thinking and working along the lines that we've just read in this Mishnah is going to be someone who is going to put aside his personal grievances, and he's going to say, I actually want to work for the good of the community. I want to spread peace and love in the community, and I want to work together with anyone and everyone to achieve that result. So given the background of these two, Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron, we can understand how they are establishing this partnership as they embark on the dramatic and epic challenge and the 10 plagues that we're reading about in this week's Sedra of Va'era and in next week's Sedra of Bo, and how this is possible, this is doable, and it is a constant, eternal example to all of us. This is what we aspire to. And when we reach for their heights, when we reach for the heights of Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron, we might never get to where they are, but we will get higher than we would have done had we not looked up to them as an example. And it's very interesting how the Sifrei, the Midrashic comment on Bamidbar actually picks up on these verses here and asks what does it add, what do these comments add, that Moshe and Aaron were commanded regarding the Bnei Yisrael and regarding Paro. So just quoting from the Sifrei, this is a warning. These two brothers who are going to undertake the task of leadership of the children of Israel and the task of confronting Paro, Hashem is telling them, Hashem is as it were warning them. God said to Moses and Aaron, I want you to know that the Israelites are a stubborn and troublesome lot, but you accept this mission on the understanding that they will curse you and stone you. And so this is very sobering. Moshe Rabbeinu are under no illusions whatsoever that they are taking on positions of leadership, or Hashem is rather giving them and expecting them to take on positions of leadership. And in case anybody entertains any ideas that being in the top job, living in the top address is going to be power and glory, the warning is stark and clear. The people are going to shout at you, curse you, and stone you. And you are doing this altruistically. You are doing this as fulfilling the command of Hashem. You are united. You brothers are united in the service of Hashem. And this is what makes them great for eternity. And it carries on actually. And the Rambam gives us mission statements for Moshe Rabbeinu and for Aaron that teach Moshe and Aaron and also all of us how to relate to the people and how to relate to Pharaoh. And this is actually spelled out in the Rambam, and he learns a specific halacha from these verses. It is forbidden for a person to lord it over the community in a domineering manner, but he must exercise his authority with humility and reverence. It is likewise forbidden to treat people with disrespect, even if they are ignorant, and he should not ride over the heads of the holy people. And then this is something that Rashi echoes, how Moshe and Aaron are to conduct themselves towards both the children of Israel and to Pharaoh. He commanded them as to the children of Israel, bidding them to lead them gently and bear them patiently, and to Pharaoh the king of Egypt, bidding them to behave respectfully when they addressed him. This is the homiletic interpretation. Its plain sense is he commanded them regarding Israel and their mission to Pharaoh. The substance of the command is explained in the second paragraph after the genealogical tree. But since the text had mentioned Moshe and Aaron, a digression is introduced beginning, these are the heads of their fathers' houses, informing us how Moshe and Aaron were born and who their ancestors were. So in this perplexing passage that we feel isn't necessarily giving us any information that we didn't already know, we can see that before we embark on the incredible, miraculous journey of the children of Israel in Egypt, the 10 plagues, and leaving Egypt, we have to really internalize the two men at this point, Moshe and Aaron, who are going to be the leaders. And we extrapolate from here the relationship between themselves and how they establish this partnership based on their characteristics, based on their desire to serve Hashem and for the common good. And we can also extrapolate how they had to behave respectfully, even when all of those around them were either treating them badly or behaving in a way that just defied all logic. How when Paro is confronted over and over again with the with the reality of Hashem's power, yet he refuses to acknowledge it. But they must always stay respectful. And the halachas that are learnt from the way in which they handle these situations are set up in these quiet verses, where we see how they come into the world, their family background, and how they work together. And in this way, we embark on the journey that is going to lead us out of the servitude, out of the slavery of Egypt, and towards receiving the Torah from Hashem at Har Sinai, all part, that being the goal of the journey. And really, Moshe Rabbeinu and Aharon are going to be the people who are going to support us in this journey and teach us on a constant basis how we can achieve these great heights. Thank you very much for listening, and wishing you Shabbat Shalom.